Hello and welcome to Slaughterhouse Talks. We talk about horror movies and everything else.
I am Dr. Graves.
And I'm Porkchop or James. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about James Whale's 1932, The Dark House.
The Dark House.
The Old Dark House. It's supposed to be one of my favorites again, like in the previous episode. Uh, it has one of my favorite main characters, Boris Karloff, which we'll probably be talking on and off about throughout this whole season.
You do love Boris.
I do love Boris. Has James Whale, like I mentioned. And we'll get into that, but let's hear about your feelings about the old dark house.
We'll wait on that because we have a structure.
Well, come on, there's
My feelings are I like it as a ghost story, as a creepy old sit around the campfire story. That's the vibe I get off, and there's some funny bits in it. It's pretty goofy.
So, for the background of what when I watched research, we got here. I got big notes here. One of my films.
Big notes.
Big notes. So right after it was either The Invisible Man or Frankenstein.
James Whale did.
James Whale did Frankenstein, the original from 1931, which also starred Boris Karloff. And it also starred Colin Clive, and I can't remember his name right now, but he was in Invisible Man too, and he was uncredited. But
Claude Rains?
No, he was the Invisible Man. But whilst he finished up Frankenstein, I want to say this was in the midst of Bride of Frankenstein as well, and The Invisible Man. They get finished with Frankenstein, and Boris has now become a mainstream actor. After doing about 80 films in his career, Frankenstein is the one that sets him off.
Oh wow!
He's the best of the actors, and he is one of the best horror actors out there, in my opinion.
Yeah. So
that happens.
I've got characters and cast.
Yeah.
Set a little scene here.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan's played by Boris Karloff. Morgan is the butler, I would say, and brother to Saul.
It's not specified, but probably brother. Yeah.
We got Pendrell is Melvin Douglas. He's the comedy.
He's a stage actor, and he did a lot of little parts, but he's one of those unfortunate actors who just I think his career faded.
Oh no, he was funny. He was great.
He was really good in that movie.
We got Margaret, played by Gloria Stewart, she was in Titanic. She was old Rose, the Invisible Man. Yeah. Saul was played by Brimber Wills, who's the brother.
He's the
Is he the brother?
He's the brother who which becomes the whole plot twist at the end.
Okay. Philip is Raymond Massey. Philip is basically the strong husband.
He's strong asshole husband
to Margaret. He's married to Margaret.
Yeah, married to Margaret Gloria Stewart's character. The antithesis of a man in the 30s.
Do you want to talk about Horace a little bit? Horace, your favorite actor?
Ernest Thesiger. His character in this one is played by Horace. Ernest will come back in Bride of Frankenstein for Dr. Pretorius.
Such a good name.
Ernest and Thesiger. It's the same with James Whale. They are both gay. Homosexual.
Gay.
And Ernest's character is so camp because
he is.
You go in and it's like if you didn't know he was a homosexual, now you do.
Yeah. As soon as you see him,
he's so wonderful and so camp, and he we'll get into it when we get to the plot, but his character is very much just like just
have a potato.
I absolutely love him. One of my favorites.
We got Gladys, played by Lillian Bond, a chorus girl.
Yeah. For that era, I'd say she's a flapper. She's a good time girl. She says she's a chorus girl, but she's not a good one.
Okay. Rebecca Femme is played by Eva Moore.
Eva Moore is a fucking gem.
She's so just old lady. She's wicked.
She's so I love her. She's I forgot her name too, and she's in the Wolfman, 1941, who plays the Romanian.
Oh, she was.
No, she's not the same one, but she has the same vibe. Where she's just like this old woman who's like Oh, I love it.
Do you want to talk about William Porter? Charles,
Oh yeah, and out of all this, William Porterhouse, played by Charles Lawton,
it's
who is
kind
a
of funny.
very famous actor. Um,
I don't like his humor, but
it's a very weird humor, but he sums up. He somehow, when he first enters to steal most of the scene, when we get into it, he steals that whole entire scene and the
just
rest
goes
of
for
it. He's very powerful and he's a good actor.
And then the last character we have is Roderick Fem or Elspeth
Dungeon. So the
who
father, yeah,
is the father of the Fem family, played by a woman.
a woman. They're 100. The father is 102,
It's
and
102.
A female an actress will play. I think that works.
Yeah, it was good. What else do we have behind this?
I have the producers Carl Laemmle Jr.
Oh, of course, yes.
Without Carl Laemmle Jr., I'd say we wouldn't have gotten most of the Universal horror films. So we have to praise him for that.
Music is did by David Brockman. The music is pretty good in this movie. Not gonna lie, I like the creepy feel.
There's not a lot of it.
No, but when it happens, it helps.
Yeah, there's not a lot of music. Screenplay was by Ben W. Levy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So now we're gonna get into
this movie.
The plot.
Would you like to start off, or
let's start off? Yeah, I'll start off. Starts off with my favorite Universal openings, which is the little tiny airplane going around.
It's a Universal picture.
Yeah, and little tiny airplane goes around. That's my favorite one. Cuts to the whole, kind of stereotypical for the 30s title sequence. Title text with like a rainy background and the old dark houses in the frame.
Yeah.
3 people driving through a dark, cold, rainy landscape. That is what we cut to.
Thunderstorm.
Big old thunderstorm, mud everywhere, it's flooding. Gloria Stewart is not having it. Her hat's all wet and she's so in distress. And Raymond Massey is very frustrated because he wants to get out of there too, and he's being an asshole.
On the way to Shrewsbury.
It takes place in Wales.
Yeah. Interesting.
It takes place in the era it takes place in, so it's the 30s.
Okay.
That's what we're just supposed to surmise from that. I want to go back a bit. Hold on.
You can go back?
Pendrell is in the back of the car. We don't know how these people met. We just know that they're traveling to get to Shrewsbury of Wales. And Pendrell is such a delight when he's automatically in because he's taking it nonchalantly. It's like, oh no, we're going to be flooding. It's like, oh well, maybe I don't want to get there tonight.
Start singing.
Singing a bunch of like old like vaudeville songs.
Yeah.
Before they can get through, there's a landslide, cuts through, almost smashes the car off of the road.
That looked dangerous.
It looked dangerous, and there's the James Whale is probably like he's known for this. There's a lot of dangerous stuff, so he probably made them do it like 16 times. But
oh really?
Probably. And we get through after all that stress. The first thing they see after being flooded through is the old dark house with lights glooming in the window.
Yeah.
And they pull up to it.
You think it's a great idea to go to the house?
Yes.
Yes.
They come to the door and they knock on the door. Knocks on it a lot, and he's they have that little chat between. It's really nice, like James Whale
banter
talk where it's just like, well, imagine if everyone was dead inside, all waiting around with the lights, around them. Yeah. It's like morbid talk, and the door cracks open a little bit. It's Boris's face. And Boris is all done up in, like scars. Beatles haircut, beard, scars, Jack Pierce's makeup again, where it's Boris, but you can't tell it's Boris.
Yeah.
He comes in and he mumbles. That's his introduction. So Boris doesn't talk in the movie at all.
No, he just makes noises.
Which is a shame because it's a Karloffian, it's a Frankensteinian monster thing again. It's so sad because you want him to be like, well, you've been top billed. I will say he was top billed because his name, I think his last name was in the poster.
Oh, great!
So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good respect value for him. But he doesn't have any lines. But he does so much. He's such a threat.
He's a threat.
He's such a threat.
We get introduced to Horace.
Yeah, they burst into the house and hello.
Hello.
I'm Horace Fem.
then we get all the backstory. Well, a little bit of backstory.
I will say when they do introduce themselves, Horace comes in. When they come in, Horace is like, "Oh, my sister's arranging these flowers," and he tosses them into the fireplace because he doesn't care.
He doesn't like his sister.
It's so good. We learn a little bit about the house. We also learn they're kind of explaining, what it's shitty outside. We have to come. We have to come in and like.
The sisters, they can't stay. No beds.
She's upstairs, and she comes wobbling downstairs, and then she's like, "Oh, it's Rebecca Femme," and she's like completely deaf apparently, and
she has choice deaf.
Yeah.
She
likes to pick, and she gets introduced to the characters, and
she's a horrible.
She's an old, whiny old woman, and she won't let them stay, and they plead, and they can stay, but they can stay without sleeping in beds, and they're not allowed to bring their bags, but they bring them anyway.
They bring them in anyway.
And that is our introduction to the opening chapter to the old dark house. We're inside now.
They go grab their bags, come back in. Pendrell and Philip go grab the bags, come back in, and Horace upstairs is like,
"So gin.
You have gin."
So
I like gin.
There's an interesting character thing about Pendrell in this scene because they do bring it up where he's like, for Horace does say, "Are you one of them battered by the war?" And if this is the 30s, we're here to now. Pendrell kind of confirms that he might have been a soldier, and that's his backstory.
Well, his attitude is very definite, and the way he dresses himself.
And the way he kind of hides his character, so it's possible that he might have been a soldier. So that's one big. The thing. Also, big massive plot point. Morgan can't drink. He's not allowed to drink.
We find out Morgan is scary when he's drinking.
Don't let Morgan drink.
Don't
let Morgan drink because
he's evil.
Oh, Morgan's evil. For I will say the one. I'll get back to that, but I will say just to bring it up, the downers of this movie are it's the 30s, so it's very sexist. And they do.
I didn't pick up on that, but I'm very blind when it comes to that kind of shit anyway in movies.
And they do use old terms. So Morgan is
dumb.
He's dumb.
He's dumb.
But we wouldn't use that today.
No, we'd use mentally.
I'd say he's just handicapped. He's disabled. He's like, he can have anything, but we don't call people.
We don't
dumb.
call him dumb anymore.
So plot: don't let Morgan drink.
He's not allowed to drink.
That's the big thread that goes through the whole film.
Margaret goes to change her wet clothes with Rebecca. Just takes her to her sister's room, who we find died when she was 21.
Yeah, she fell off a horse and she. She had like
Rebecca.
spinal stuff, and she
just
laid
in the bed.
I just want to die, and she didn't let her die.
And then she said, "Turn to the Lord." And her big thing is
she likes to hint into Gloria Stewart. It's just like this house was full of prostitutes, basically.
Red and white women.
Whatever. Yeah, and it's like, and she really goes up to Gloria Stewart, poking her and just being like, "You're basically a piece of flesh prostitute."
And then she's all, "Get away!"
Yeah,
and hide the camera.
James Whale films it really well because
looking in the mirrors.
There's all these mirrors around the bedroom, and like they only basically shoot on Eve's face, or like Rebecca's face, and it's all like distorted because they're like old cracked mirrors.
Who's Eve?
I don't know what's the name of the actress. What's the name of the actress?
We're talking about Margaret.
No, I'm talking about
Rebecca. Okay.
Even more. Yeah.
Okay, I was confused.
And there's like all this stuff happens, and what happened? Oh yeah, and then she leaves. And there's this awesome scene of Gloria Stewart's face in the mirror, and it's like distorted where it looks like she has like one eye.
And then Morgan's face.
Morgan's face cuts in, and it's like Boris has just a really good look in his eye. That one.
And then she runs downstairs after all that, and it's dinner time.
Oh, the dinner scene.
I love that. It's so awkward, but it's also funny.
The dinner scene I like because it has very naturalistic talking. It's normal. It's not like it's scripted, but it just seems.
Have
real.
a potato. I'd love a potato.
And then Gloria Stewart's just like, it seems to be coming down in bucketfuls, and Pendrell cuts to Pendrell and is like, "Thank you, Miss Wavington. That's the term I've been using to trying to find all night." And that's like
because the only conversation around that table is the weather.
Yeah, and
we went far too much because there's also the praying scene where Horace is like, "My sister has tribal ways," And she has to pray for thanking our meal and thanking our health, and then she gets mad at him for like curse on.
Yeah, he mentions basically all the bad family members, and she gets mad. But that's the hint of our first introduction about who else is in the house.
It's true.
They have that great dinner scene with all this talking. And I got this thing too when I was watching it. James Whale pans the camera across to a lot of people's plates, and it's their eating styles, and that kind of tells about their character.
Rebecca is very messy, and then next to Rebecca is Philip, and Philip is very clean, trying to pick
off the
stuff.
shit.
Yeah, he's like picking stuff off.
And they're all, and like Horace just has a big slab of meat.
Yeah, he has a big meat.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you know what that means. So there's all this like telling character stuff, and I really like with James Whale's kind of like comedy in that sense. And before anything, could get even more, interesting, Charles Lawton bangs his fist on the door,
big meaty fist,
and Rebecca's like, "Don't let them in," and they force him to come in, and there he is.
He's doing his old bit. It's raining down there.
Coming down in bucketfuls.
And then it's just over and over.
There's a lot of energy, and to add to that quiet scene, he steals the whole scene. And Boris is like, and if you look at Boris in the background, he sadly has nothing to do, but he's just standing there waiting at the table, and he just stands there, just like looking around, looking at everyone, like talking, like, okay, this sucks.
That's why he drinks.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to have something to talk to.
So we've got the dinner scene cuts to, and it has a pretty nice fadeaway where it's just like the shot of them.
It goes to talking around the fire.
Yeah, a shot of them on the table, and then it fades, and it's like all the plates are empty, and all the stuff's like disarrayed, and then they're at the fireplace,
and they're talking about
themselves.
They're talking about the feminine institution of Gloria Stewart, and
that was the sexism that was coming up.
Yeah, that's all right. We're talking about William's wife. Could be a suicide. Could be this. Could be that. We don't really get.
Do you want to go into the backstory of the dead wife story?
We're gonna talk about dead wife?
Well, no, it's like Charles Lawton's little story is like kind of tells about his whole character too, because now we know about Pendrell. Pendrell is Pendrell. We know as a soldier, but like the way that everyone's describing him, he's a fish out of water. Yeah, he's a fish out of water. He doesn't really care about money things or economic values, but Charles Lawton does. His character does, and the reason he is because he bought a cotton frock for his wife. Everyone made fun of the cotton frock, and she might have killed herself. That's what I got from it. That's what they're insinuating, and now the only thing he can do is like prove that he's better by just making money.
Morgan gets a little sippy sip because Rebecca runs in and says, "Morgan's in the kitchen drinking. You must hurry." And
no, they have. I've got this because they talk about the.
Morgan drinks though.
Perkins, who was introduced as Gladys. Her real name is Perkins. And they have this wonderful scene. They have this banter of, and all the men in there are really trying to like get on the women's space so they
except Pendrell.
Yeah, Horace as well, and they're all trying to talk.
Horace is the same as doing that.
Yeah, and there's like they're trying to fight, and Perkins is a really strong character because she is this character who is insinuated anyway. She's like she can handle herself.
Yeah, she can.
And you're right. No! I did read the thing, and Morgan does become drunk. Yeah, that breaks the plot.
So then Pendrell goes over to Perkins, and she's like, "Thank you." No. Either Perkins goes over to Pendrell goes and he's like, "Thank you for standing up for me," basically, and then they get to know each other, and then they go outside to get the whiskey.
They go outside to get whiskey, but they're just trying to get a little bit.
Oh, we know what's going on. We know, yeah.
And then when we have to wait for that, we have to get the lamp.
Oh yeah, they go get whiskey, and then the power goes out. They're like, "We make our own electricity, but seeming fucking Morgan's drunk, we can't run the generator, so we gotta go get this lamp." Do you want to talk about the lamp scene? Because I hate the lamp scene.
I love the lamp scene. It's really
I like the ending of the lamp scene, but other than that, I just
Okay, so Horace Venn and Philip and Rebecca come in, and Rebecca runs in because it's like there's no light, and Horace is like a pussy, he's a coward. He doesn't want to go upstairs because he knows something's upstairs, and we've been trying to. The camera's always shot on the stairs in the movie, and we're like, well, what's up there? Because we haven't been able to go up there yet. And Horace and Rebecca had this really, really good banter one-off about like, oh, maybe you should go upstairs because you know where it is, and she's like, well, you know where it is, and it's like this whole thing, and then Philip comes in and is just like, well, I'll come and do it, and they go upstairs.
We all know Horace wants a strong young man.
It's a strong young man, yeah. And they get up to the first flight of the stairs. They go behind the wall. Horace like hides behind the wall, and he's like,
this is my bedroom.
Yeah, this is my bedroom. There's a couple of things I'd like to show you. And he's like, well, you have to show me later. We got to get this fucking lamp. And he's like, well, let's just pretend like we'll wait a few minutes and let's come back and say we couldn't find it or it's broken because he doesn't want to because there's something upstairs. And then he basically is just like, oh, I'm just a old man, vanity. You go upstairs and do it. And he's like, oh, it shouldn't be that bad. And he breaks it because he says, oh, it's actually really light.
Yeah.
Because he knows something's upstairs. So he leaves. And before we can leave, we hear laughing.
Oh, yeah.
From upstairs. And they turn the camera and there's that wonderful shot in Ernest's eyes. Horace's eyes are just like, oh. He knows. And we hear laughing. And he's like, oh, I didn't hear anything. Leaves. And Philip goes up to get the lamp.
2 landings up.
And on the table is a plate with empty food and an empty cup with had liquid in it.
And a door with 2 locks on it.
Big locks. Alright. No! How long have we got left of this? 37 minutes? We can get through this. Alright, do a little throat.
Drunk Morgan gets...
Okay, what do we do? Because they get the... So who's behind that door? That's the main question.
Well, we don't know yet. We know who it is.
We know who it is, but we're an audience, so pretend you don't know.
Oh, I don't know. And then Drunk Morgan... Morgan is tipsy, and he sees Margaret.
And they have a great... Well, because Gloria's walking around, Gloria Stewart, and there's this really cool shadow jump scare where, like, everyone's left.
Oh, yeah.
And she's standing around and she's just like doing like shadow stuff. And then Rebecca comes out of her, looks like out of her back, out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and, like, starts poking her and then disappears. And she tries to run away and Morgan busts through that door and looks her right in the eyes.
And then him and Philip have a... Well, Philip comes back downstairs because he hears the commotion, has the lamp. And then he gets into a little tussle with Morgan. And at this point, I would say I saw the pain in Boris Karloff's eyes with his back problem. Yeah. Every time there's a fight scene, I felt so bad for Boris.
I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad you did, because that would have been painful. Boris had back problems his whole childhood, but...
Well, whole life. But Frankenstein really was the one that fucked it up because James the Whale destroyed his back, disrespecting him, because we won't get into that whole scene until we get to Frankenstein. But if you want to read about it, you can read about it. But his back would have been... Yeah, his back was basically destroyed. He was getting braces. He was getting his first brace in his back. And James Whale knew this, I think, and he did these brutal fight scenes where actors are jumping all over Boris and like pulling on him, and you can see it. You can see it physically in his face. It hurts, but he's such a trooper. When I will say, no, I'll save it. No, because we haven't got there yet. Okay. I'll save it.
So after this whole fight, Boris gets knocked out because he's already drunk anyway, and he's like, there's something upstairs.
Oh yeah, Margaret and Philip go upstairs. Well, Margaret and Philip
go upstairs and it cuts.
Yeah, because Philip's trying to calm down Margaret right now.
This is the other thing about like the 30s movies I don't like. Like, women are so weak. They're written so weak, so hysterical. After Morgan, she didn't even get into a fight. She witnessed the fight. She has to sit down and calm down. And he's like, "It's all right, darling."
And then they're for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, calming it down. It's like, is she okay? Like,
she mentally?
Might be. Because like women are stronger than this.
And then it cuts to Pendulum Perkins falling in love for each other.
I love the thing he says. It's so undermined. It's just like, I'd like to hold you. I'd like to hold you very gently and very tightly. And it's
not working on me.
It's not working on you.
It's not going to help.
And just the thing that I like kind of about that characteristic too is Perkins kind of mentions the relationship with
with William.
Charles Lawton, so we know kind of like where
They're
it
not
stands.
they're not together, but she feels bad for him. But he's also nice to her. He gives her
money,
gives
but
her...
not for sex.
No, just to live off of.
Just to be there as a companion.
Yeah.
And I like the thing too is she's like, he doesn't expect anything. You know what I mean by anything? And it cuts to him. It's like, I know what you mean by anything. And it's like, yeah. And it's and then they have this thing, and it's like, I have a wonderful idea. I'd like to pretend to be your lover. It's like,
we all know what he's really thinking.
Yeah, how about you just
I'd like to.
Cuts to that, they go inside, and after all that, Charles Lawton's been asleep.
Can
wake up, and he's like, "Oh, I've been asleep," and they explain,
"Where have you been?"
And they explain to him like, "Oh, we're dating now," and he's like, he's not upset about it, but he's just, I'd say, disappointed.
He's like, "I don't hate you, but I think you're stupid."
I think the man took it strongly. He took it very well.
And then we find out that Pendrell's gonna ask Perkins to marry him later.
Yeah.
In the wee hours of the morning.
Let's cut back to oh, darling, you're sitting on the stairs because you're so...
Oh, Philip and Margaret.
Darling, there's a big door with something on it. Let's go check. And they open it up, and it's quite extravagant bedroom. It's gloriously
It's huge. It's a long shot.
Beautifully, they go in. It's almost like Citizen Kane, and Citizen Kane was trying to do the same thing where like, don't show your sets.
For sure.
But that because it was like kind of like the big rule back then. Those old films sideways. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and then when they break the sets, beautiful because that 3D effect coming in. And
it was great.
Checkerboard floor.
I didn't notice that. All I was looking at was the bed. The bed looks huge, and this is a 102-year-old man. Looks tiny in it.
They go up to him, and it's the father of all these nasty
little
shits, and they've locked up the father because they're nasty shits, and he knows something.
And then we discover Saul.
Who?
Saul. Not Better Call Saul. No, not the lawyer.
Put that in.
It's the brother.
It is the eldest brother of Horace.
And he's a psychopath, basically.
He likes to set fire to
things. And if Morgan's too bad and too drunk, I'll let him out.
What happens?
The old man
goes
dies.
to sleep.
He goes to sleep.
I have this actually on my thing because I wanted to bring this up. They leave Sir Roderick Fenn, the father, in his room, and like, I thought he just fell asleep, but like,
they back
up, and they're like, Philip's just like, we'll come get you if everything's alright. We're closing the door, and like Gloria Stewart's just like, he's asleep, and it's just like
he's just like, he's dead.
He's dead.
Morgan has.
We get downstairs. Morgan has released Saul.
Yeah.
And there's that really cool shot because you see Boris in the background and that hand coming down the stairwell.
Oh yeah, we think it's Saul.
And I think because you first expect, was that Boris's hand?
Yeah.
And then it's like no, and he comes out and then it's Saul, and Boris comes down the stairs first, and he's again a threat, and he's looking him dead in the eye, and he doesn't break the contact.
No, he's just like, the Jack Nicholson, the Stanley Kubrick stare.
Yeah.
That's what he's mad dogging him the whole movie.
Yeah, and then
they get into a tussle. Pendrell, Charles Lawton,
and Philip
all trying to take down Morgan, and they get him down in the kitchen after I think it's at least 3 minutes of him trying to get this man down, maybe 2:30,
which is great.
And then I could see Boris banging into stuff and him going, you can see the pain in his eyes.
There's a bit they push Morgan into the window, and they do it where he breaks the window, and they do a close up, and he's like, oh, and he's like,
you can see he's hurting.
Yeah.
And then Pendrell puts the girls under the stairwell to protect them while he talks to Saul.
Saul comes down, and I love
he's playing innocent first.
He comes down, and he's like,
they've been horrible to me.
He's all wobbly. The first thing he said, no, don't touch me. That's the first line.
And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, don't leave me.
Yeah, and he's all nervous, and you're like, is this Saul, really? This is ridiculous.
This is the threat.
And he's like, they're all wicked. They've locked me upstairs because they killed their sister, but I wouldn't tell. And, we get that whole thing, and then, he's about to leave.
Yeah, Pendrell's about to go out to find help, and he's like,
wait.
Stop,
don't go. And, I want to tell you a story. It's about fire, isn't it?
Cool. Oh, I like Flame.
I like Flame.
And then Pendle's like, he's edging him on, like, tell me about Flame, yeah. And then he gets into religious about David and not Goliath.
Saul.
Oh, David and Saul, yeah. And about striking thrice.
That's a pretty cool
And then on
scene.
the fourth time, he throws the knife.
And the knife goes like right into the chair thing, like right here, and then like they had that cool scene because Saul thwacks a chair over Pendrell and he collapses and he goes upstairs with the flaming.
This little man running upstairs.
Sounds like a crazy prospect of burning stuff. And Pendrell breaks out of it, goes upstairs, and they have this really.
It's close to the fire.
They shot and they kept pushing each other into the fire, and they fight each other, and Saul leaps onto his back, and they do that shot, and they fall off the top balcony onto the ground, and it looks.
It's two people.
Yeah, it's two actual actors, and it looked painful as hell.
It looked alright.
And out of that, Saul dies.
Morgan shows up and he opens the door to the girls, and they think it's Pendrell.
They actually talk sense into Morgan, and he starts becoming a human.
He has like a moment where it's just like, who? When he looks over and he's like, no, and he picks up Saul and he's all. So when he picks him up and then takes him upstairs.
When he picked up Saul, there's this beautiful still. I'll put it up. I'll put it up here. It reminds me of the Ivan the Terrible holding his son. That painting, I'll put that up here, and it's like you see, and he's got that look in his eyes. It has the same kind of vibe. Look. It's the same look.
He's just the look in his eyes is also vacant. There's nothing there, but it's also the connection of oh my god. That's what I see.
This is a big thing.
Yeah. Pendrell survives.
Gladys
doesn't know.
Survives. Perkins survives.
Perkins.
Philip survives. Rebecca, Horace.
Everyone says except Saul. And Sir Roderick, I guess.
Sir Roderick will say he's dead.
It's dead in the ground.
It's dead.
Oh, Sir Roderick. And then they wait till morning and then it's all. I don't know. It seems kind of off, but. Did they have time to put the flames out? Because I didn't see anyone put the flames out.
Yeah, the flames are out.
Okay. Because I thought it was like a dream sequence when Horace comes downstairs and he's like, good morning. And it's all just calm.
Oh, no, that's it. That's how it is.
They go call the ambulance, and Philip and Margaret, I think, are going to Shrewsbury, and then they'll meet him there or some shit.
Yeah.
And then Horace just like, goodbye, nice to meet you. And he's just...
Pendrell has the bandage on his head because of the fight. And he looks up and he's like, am I in heaven? And it's like...
They kiss. Sid asks Gladys Perkins to marry him, and then that's it.
Cuts out to the wonderful aeroplane going around.
It's a universal
picture, and it's wonderful. And that's the movie.
That's the old Dark House.
That is the old Dark House. I will add at the end that Hammer did a remake.
We have to watch it now.
No. We'll do it in the future. But Hammer did a remake of this. It's
any good?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
What do you rate this bad boy?
I give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh. Okay.
9 out of 10. But I will say it is a short film.
It doesn't feel short. It feels like a full length. But how long is it?
It's like an hour and 12 minutes or something.
That's a film.
Feels like a short film. The acting's kind of off, I will say. I don't like that Boris doesn't have a big part, but I really, really love that Ernest Thesiger gets a movie to himself apart from Bride of Frankenstein. So we get to see him be, like, more so.
I'll give it a 8.7.
Yeah.
Again, if you see down here, from 60s to 90s onwards. But I'm okay with classics. Like them, love them, but they're not always going to be for me. I like this one. It's just... I like the oomph. The 70s and 80s oomph of a horror movie.
That's fair.
That's all I have to say, but go check it out. It's on YouTube.
It's on Tubi. It's on Pluto. It's on Amazon if you want to get it on Blu-ray.
If you want to make it look nice and not see the green, go for the Blu-ray. Also... put the link for that Boris Karloff documentary.
Tubi, and if you get Shudder, not sponsors. Definitely not sponsors.
Shudder though. Shudder great.
They have a Boris Karloff documentary. Highly recommend if you want to learn a lot about just Boris Karloff in general, and more specifically his later stuff.
I thought I knew about Boris Karloff, and then we watched it not too long ago, and I was like, oh wow, there's more to him than just that.
Right.
Right.
And I think we're good. Again, please subscribe. Thank you for joining us. We hope to release this and continue to release this
Weekends.
Whenever we can.
Let's just say whatever we can, to be honest, yeah.
Again, thank you for watching. I'll put the links in the description. They'll be here. Icons and stuff will be floating around.
Look, there's a fly. Oh, there's a shoe. There's a rocket.
Yeah.
I'll give you more shit to do.
Watch horror movies and always watch horror movies.
Yeah, love the genre because it loves you back. Have a ghoulish day, everyone. Bye-bye.